Hey everybody, so I'll be working here on the 300 SDL, and basically it's got an oil leak under there on the pan, and so looks like somebody damaged it and it started just leaking, and so they put a bolt in it and then RTV'd it. Just looking at the new oil pan, you can see a couple things. So first is there's a side pan. And so there's a separate gasket for this, and then I'm going to reuse my existing side pan because it's okay. Just have to clean the surface of the other one, and I'll clean this too. And then it's a lot of bolts. It's a lot of bolts. So buying those all from Mercedes is extremely expensive. So I'm not going to do that. I am going to take this to a hardware store, take a couple out. I know there's a couple different lengths and there's a couple different sizes too. And then when you get towards the back of the pan, I think this is an inspection cover for the flywheel. I put it on. I got this. So this already has some of the parts on it. It's got like the crush washer. I didn't torque this, but it's got the new drain bolt. There should be a speed sensor, I think, right here. And then I think there's a ground cable on the back too. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Yeah, and then I guess the last one is the oil level sensor. So I'll swap this over too. So yeah, time to just kind of get some of the stuff ready. You got to take the mounts off so you can lift up the engine to sneak this out, because there's a subframe under this portion here. And so here she is on the Rhino ramps. Got the oil drained. So you can see that bolt, and then all around it is just the RTV. So there must have been a fracture there or something, and this is the best way the person could patch it up. And yeah, the pan, as you saw the part, it's long. So you can see it goes all the way back here. Yep, it does go over the steering shock. Okay, and then it goes all the way back to here. So yeah, and yeah, you can see I'm missing my cover, the flywheel inspection cover. First up are these guys. So this is a new part. I didn't know that the rubber, you can get new rubber for that, so I got new rubber pieces. And so you just got to disconnect the bottom, and this is 10 millimeter. So I'm gonna do that on both sides, get this nut off of here. I'm gonna have to hold it to counter that, so I'll have to go get a wrench really quick and do that so that the arm of the steering shock doesn't move with the bolt or the nut. So I'll do that on both sides, and just gonna keep letting this drain just to make sure, get everything out. I'm taking off the bolts for the side pan first, and then just kind of arranging them in a cardboard that's the same shape as the pan itself. So get those out. Those are 10 millimeter, and yeah, it looks like there's 9 of them. Should be able to get it without taking that transmission cooler line, loosening that up. Should be able to just get it out. You got most of them loosened already. So I'm basically wanting to get as many bolts out as I can, where I can know what to get at the hardware store. So something I did have to do is just use a knife to kind of clean around the bolt to get a good grip, so that way you don't strip it when you're taking it out. Okay, once that side pan is off, a bunch more oil will come out, so that's great. That's what I want to do, is get all the oil out right now so I can get that into a container. Over there you can see the level sensor on the other side, and this is the oil pump right here, and the pickup. A little bit hard to see. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so you can see everything in there. And then yeah, the pan goes back. There's big baffles in there. All right, so Got that. Start cleaning that up. Probably as I'm going, I'm gonna either put aluminum foil over this or I'll just put the old part back over it, because this is gonna take me a couple days for sure. Here's how it looks right now. Just wiped it down a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with some brake clean. I'll mint this out later, but this is about 10 minutes with our Scotch-Brite and some brake clean. So yeah, it's looking good. I'm gonna call that good for right now and get to those other parts. Here's that bolt that's on the front, so just taking that out. And it's got the lines on here, so it's SAE. Worked out to be like 11 millimeter. So it feels good to get rid of that piece of crap. All right, so yeah, now I just need to take off. I need to see the different lengths for the oil pan, the main oil pan itself. Need to go to the hardware store. Here's where I'm at. So I took the side pan off. I took the oil level sensor off. I put the drain plug back in. Put the accessory drain plug back in. And so I got the bolts out of the side pan, and I've just kind of made it shaped like the original one. There's the oil level sensor. And now I'm just taking out a sampling of bolts from the actual oil pan itself. I'm not going to take them all out, but you can see there's different lengths here. So I'm going to try to get a good sampling of all the different sizes, so I can basically just bring these pieces of cardboard with the bolts in it to the shop, get the replacement hardware, and then I'll be good to go for a lot cheaper than buying the Mercedes parts. I guess the alternative could be I could see how many different part numbers there are in the parts catalog, but it doesn't have the dimensions. So yeah, gonna keep going with this. And then something to keep in mind is, as you're going through here, yeah, so you can see I've got yeah, some of these things, the person got really lazy and they didn't put the transcooler line clip back in. But yeah, here's one of the ones I removed. Moving all the way back, I removed that one right there too. You can see where the inspection for the flywheel is. There's another cooler line that somebody just didn't bother plugging into the clip where it goes. So it should get clipped in right there where that cap Allen bolt is. So I'll fix that along this as part of this process. And yeah, there's the speed sensor, and then the ground is over here. And that just goes through the oil pan. Yeah, so pretty much just going to get a good sampling of bolts here, call it good for this session. And some of the next steps include getting through these motor mounts. So here's the actual motor mounts themselves, undoing that bolt, and then at that point you can hoist the engine and get this pan out. You do need to disconnect this drag link, so I'm going to get a ball joint separator on there. The steering shock is easy, it just has the bolt over there. For my first working session, here's where I'm at. Got the bolts here, all the ones for the side pan, the level sensor, and then for the pan I just took a good sampling. Some of these are unique, so like this transcooler line, I just kind of labeled TC, you know, a couple places, and there's the speed sensor. Tried to find how many unique sizes there are, so most of them just use the, you know, there's 25 that are the same size, it looks like. There's a couple here for these transcoolers that are different lengths. I think this one and this one down here are the same. I'll find out for sure. I'm going to get cleaned up for now. These other ones here in the back, there's a couple different sizes though. So I pulled those. These bigger ones here that are 13 millimeter heads, I started pulling the other ones, but I just verified they're the same size, and so they are. I didn't check this side. I should probably check this side. I think I just looked at it, compared it, and put it back in. So I think this side is okay. So basically there's 4 of those bolts that have the 13 millimeter head. Yeah, these 2, or I guess I should say these 3, are 10 millimeter heads, and they're identical, but the rest of the ones are shorter. So yeah, there's gonna be 25 10 millimeters with this length, and then they each have the washers on them. So when I go in, I'll bring this whole piece, and should be able to get sorted. There are some of the bigger bolts that hold the pan in under here, and I'm just gonna probably reuse those for right now. Okay, so now we're on day 2, and so I've got all the hardware I've needed. I've just kind of lined it up. Some of the hardware, like this little spacer, I couldn't, obviously I can't just get another one of those, so I just cleaned it up really good. But I got basically everything. A couple of these I had to cut myself, and ground down the end with a Dremel. So I got the hardware ready to go, even for the shocks that go on the suspension for the engine. I got new nylon locking nuts for that too. So that's all from Copper State Bolt and Nut Co. here in Arizona. And then here's the big part that I'll need, and I have this for the weekend. So I've got the whole engine hoist. So it was about 120 bucks to rent it, and this is probably, they said it's a $3,000 piece of equipment, so I'll take it. And so just on the other side of the fence here, I'll be setting up, you can see the yellow car right there. I'll be setting up the engine hoist right now, putting it all together, and then I should be able to start doing this job tomorrow. Here it all is together. So that literally just took me 5 minutes by myself, and yeah, you just got to use I got a jack handle I can put in there and pump it, so should be good to go. And then when I go and put this on the engine, I'll just get some S hooks and clip it on there. So yeah, I'll set up for tomorrow. And it's day 3, so today I should be able to get everything figured out. Gonna have to start, I'll just go inspect everything. There's a couple small things I have to detach. So I have to get the transmission cooler lines off of there. I got to disconnect the negative that goes from the starter there, and yeah, there's a couple just small things to check like that. Then I need to get the drag link off, and I need to get that steering shock off. So I'll probably start with the steering shock actually first, and then take the drag link off with a ball joint separator. So thinking steps are going to look like this. I'm going to have to get the steering shock off here. It's got a counter hold, and pull this guy off down here. This one should be a captured nut on the drag link, so just got to get the top off, and that should come out. Here I should be able to free up this ball joint on the drag link itself. Just got to get the top off first, and then use a ball joint separator. And then same with this one over here. Yeah, so should be able to just use the ball joint separator, get that off there after I get it off of the pitman arm. Yeah, steering shock was pretty easy to do. So that's just 17 on both sides. I didn't even bother with the other side of it yet because it's just attached to the drag link. So I went ahead and took off the ones on top here, which are also 17s. And then on this side, I got the top one off, and then I got my ball joint separator on top, pushing that pin down. And I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up, pop that loose, get that other side off too. Piece of cake, that just popped right off of there. So I'll just put the old hardware here for now. And so I don't forget where it goes or whatever. I'm sure that the stuff I ordered has new locking nuts, but all right. Let's see if that freed up some space. Yeah. So this whole area here is kind of clear now. So that's pretty cool. I'll set this all aside and start looking at the other stuff. All right, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to take off this little crossbar. So there's just 3/17 on that side, 3/17 on this side over here. The reason why is just this bolt here. These are all 17s on the back. I got the ground strap disconnected. There's another one over here. I got that. This I got loosened. I was able to get in there okay, but there's just not enough space. So I think I might just try to loosen them up on this side, loosen them on the other side, just to see if I can get just enough to get this out, because it's almost clearing. So I don't want to take it off completely. Gonna give that a go, but then the rest of it's pretty much ready. Yeah, I got it out. So I just loosened it up over here, and yeah, you can see that's about how much I unscrewed it. So not even quite a centimeter yet, and just kind of pulled it down, and that was enough to sneak it out. So good, got those. And all right, now I guess just gotta figure out the cooler line, and then it's time to take bolts out. A lot of bolts. Got the last bolt loose, and it's just dripping out the back, so I'm gonna let that go ahead and just finish dripping. And yeah, take a break. Basically, it stopped dripping oil. It's pretty empty. I just put a rag in here too, and you just got a lot of the extra oil out of the pan. So now it's time to do these bolts here holding the engine mount in place. Yeah, there we go. So those are number 8 hex, and you just follow this cross member along, and there's one on this side too. And so 2 of those, I'm going to go ahead and get those, and then basically I'm ready to hook up the mount. So when I go to hook it up, I think you just need to lift it right here. So before I go to do any lifting, I'm going to take this fan shroud off, because that's going to definitely hit. And yeah, I'll look and see if there's anything else that needs to come off of there too. I ended up taking out the fan and the shroud. So now I definitely got a good 2.5, 3 inches here. So when this starts going up, it'll be good. Got the engine bolt, the bolt out for the engine mount on both sides. So yeah, at this point I'm ready to just start getting it up in the air. So I just need to run to the hardware store and get something for this chain. So yeah, this is just all I have to work with at the moment. So I can basically get something on here. I just need something to tie those 2 pieces together, like an S hook or something strong enough, something like this. And then yeah, I'll be able to just do that. And as long as I can get this part done this weekend, where I get the old pan out and the new pan in, I'll be pretty happy. Yeah, it's just got my jack handle here. All right, well, I got it hooked on here. So I went to the hardware store and I got kind of a eyelet piece with a clip, and then I got a shackle. And then this is pretty stupid the way I have it on here, but without buying a lot more, this is probably the best I'll do. So I have both of the shoulder ends going through the orange hook, and it's going to give it a go and see what happens here. All right. I'll have to check some more here and do a little slow. I'm gonna take my time on this one. All right, this is about how high I have it. So if you look from the front, it's definitely up high. And I probably could have done it without taking the fan off, but I feel comfortable. I did it, you know, it's very easy to put it back on. I got it. So going under the car. Oh, yeah, basically you take it out. You take it out from the front. So keep jacking it, and then you're gonna get the back part caught over this cross member, and just keep trying until you finally get it. So I'm gonna get some soapy water, clean that cross member off, and clean off the mating surface here. I'm just gonna kind of let it drip. And there's no way to do this clean. I mean, you're gonna get oil everywhere. So I just put cardboard all over the place here. And I got my oil pan in the shed ready to go. So yeah, once I get this all cleaned up, then I'll put that other one in. And then once it's cleared, it goes in. You can start just bolting things in by hand. Actually, I got to put a new gasket. That's right. So I'll probably have to scrape this if there's a gasket on here, which I don't really see one anymore. It might be baked onto the bottom half here. I'll figure that out though. But yeah, once this is all cleaned up, I'll get the oil pan in, and then after that's in and it's in there loose, then I'll put the gasket in and then start doing the ones finger tight. All right, so out with the old and in with the new. All I've done is just put it up there, and I had the gasket on there, and there's just a side that's kind of green with a blue stripe that goes down. I mean, you could only really put it one way. So I tacked it on with a little bit of black Permatex, just put just a tiny little piece, just enough that it would stick, and shoved it back there. So it's in there good. Now I'm gonna start putting the bolts in there, or the new hardware, and just kind of get it finger tight, just not even finger tight, just get it in there so that it's hanging. Here's how we're looking so far. So as I put each bolt back on, I'm just making sure to put a little bit of Loctite, the blue Loctite on there. I just got like a little glue stick. And yeah, so far so good. So I'm not giving any pressure on that gasket, so I'm just kind of letting it even hang a little bit. So gonna get that all the way up here. I already kind of went and reconnected the speed sensor on this side over here, cleaned it off, you know. So just gonna take my time here. It's a really nice day outside. Just gonna enjoy this, and got some music on, and then yeah, as soon as we get more done here, I'll have to kind of reference. There's different brackets and different pieces that go on there, so I kind of have my outline so I can cheat and figure out where it goes. And then some of these I will have to reuse, like the one with the spacer here. So, yep, all right. And here we go. So this is end of day 3. I'm gonna go ahead and go under here. So we've got it up here. I got all the bolts in here, and everything is just kind of finger tight, so I can still back it out pretty easy with the fingers. Yeah, tomorrow I'll finish this up, so that'll be day 4. I got the bolts back in the back there that hold the strap and the hold it to the whatever that's called, the torque converter, I guess, I don't know, where the flywheel is. And yeah, now the next thing is just to lower it down so I can close my RV gate. So I'm just gonna lower this down really carefully. Got all the old stuff, the tools over there. Gonna clean this up and get some dinner. Okay, it's the next day in the video. It's been a couple days in real life. I actually got the flu. I got really sick, and I'm still feeling like trash right now. But yeah, I returned the tool after I got the engine, got it lowered, after I got the pan swapped out. So I got my old pan down here, just chilling, and then I'm gonna take one of the bolts off that drag link when I put the new one in. But yeah, over here, there is something I had to do. So after I got things in here and was happy, I did take a look, and I noticed that some of my vacuum connectors were unplugged, and so it was over there, and also some of the ones here on the blue piece. So that's where I just got out my vacuum wiring diagram. And so I just traced each of the vacuum lines, made sure all of them go to where they need to go, got them routed back where they're supposed to go. So that's good. And yeah, in the meantime, I had just basically put just a paper towel over the side pan where the side pan goes. And so I knew it would be well before I get to this. So as soon as I started feeling sick, I just did that and left it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and tighten up the bolts. And yeah, they're all basically M6, except there's 4 in the back that are M8. And so I actually got a nice gear wrench, torque wrench here that's going to make your beep noises. And so I'm going to do the M6 ones at 10 Newton meters, and then the M8 ones are at 25 Newton meters. So just get those bolted up. So as I'm torquing them, I just kind of go from one side to the other. I'm just kind of crisscrossing it. So get one over here. Let's go over to this side. Get the other one. Go back over here. Just work your way back the whole way. So I got all of them torqued down where they need to be. The only ones I didn't get yet, which I'm gonna get last here, are just a couple that are under this cross member. So I'm just going to get something that'll fit in there, and then either eyeball it or see if I can get my torque wrench with a low profile, but probably just gonna have to guess on those ones. But it's only a couple of those, so I think it's 2 on each side that are pretty hard to reach. So it's gonna get those locked down, and then I think all of these are good. Last things I have to do is just torque these down too. So those will be the last ones. And then I think at that point we could put oil back in. Speed sensor I did with the M6 torque spec, so to 10 Newton meters. And my wrench only went to 13 Newton meters. That was the lowest setting, so I just did all of the ones that were 10 as 13. I don't even know when I got these, but these Craftsman midget wrenches, these things saved my ass so many times. This is what I did the last 4 with, was just this side of the box end. I was able to get under there no problem and get those this 4 10 millimeters. So now we're all bolted down there. Next step is going to be cleaning off that side pan that I cleaned up a little bit earlier. I need to scrape the gasket off it. And that'll be the next part, getting that on. Cleaning the gasket off of here is where you're going to need the razor. And just be careful, because this is aluminum, just like the pan. So you don't want to scratch it up. I just used it to basically get that material off, and then once it came off, it kind of peels. But the residue kind of stays behind, and that's what you'll see there. So now that I got the main paper gasket off, I'm going to actually get some brake clean and then clean the rest of that off with just a sponge or whatever it's called, Scotch-Brite. I know I said I was going to mint it out, but with the way I'm feeling, this is probably about as good as it's going to get. Got a lot of the material off there. Don't want to use the razor much more. It's aluminum, so I just kind of Scotch-Brited it really good. And the gasket should do the rest of the work. Now these things should be only one-way installs, so I believe this is paper side up, and then that stickier material is going to be on the bottom, although I don't see, this doesn't have like the swirls of goop like the oil pan did. That's all right. Here's the part number for that gasket in case you needed it. So yeah, then I got the new hardware, and I'll put the Loctite on there, the Loctite. Just about got it back on here, but unfortunately this one here I cross-thread it when I put it in. It's pretty easy to do that on accident, and then, you know, a piece of that aluminum will come off with it. So it is not biting. Guess I'm going to have to get the M6 tap repair kit and put a helicoil in there. And there we go, got the helicoil in there. So I basically tapped it out to the repair size for the M6. Put one of those coils in there. Kind of wind it up with the tool, and then when it's in there the right amount, you're happy with if it's flush or not, then you can put the tool in and kind of break it off. There we go. So now I broke the tang off in there, so now this is ready to be remounted. And I think it's just because of this cooler line, I couldn't get a clear go at this here. Probably removing this is the best idea when you're putting this in, but the rest of them went in great and torqued really well. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and now this is going the right angle. It should go right in. And there we go, all torqued up. And so that helicoil did great. This is not going through the oil pan, this bolt here, so it just needs to provide a good surface here for the gasket, make sure it pulls it down with the right amount of torque, and that does the job perfectly. So yep, all right, the rest of this I don't think it's really worth putting on camera. I mean, I still do have to put the fan and stuff like that back in, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just torque those down, get those motor mount bolts in there. Motor mounts are torqued down to 70 Newton meters, and so now I'm just going to put the new drag link on. So the old one, the ball joint part was okay. It's leaking on this side, but yeah, just going to go ahead and put this here, and then some of the hardware that goes to that steering shock here, I'll reuse that. And this one wasn't that bad for like I've definitely had these where the steering shock is, it's just floppy, but this one actually does have some ability to go. So this one is okay, but I'm gonna still toss it. Finally, I think it's all done. So yeah, we got the side pan on torqued, we got the oil pan on, we got the engine shock back on here, new hardware, new rubber pieces on top and bottom, same on the other side there. And yeah, I put the drag link on, got that tightened down. Yep, here we go. Got the steering shock on here too, so got that on. So yeah, we should be good to go. The back items torqued up. I'll just give everything a double check, but I think it's all good to go. Engine mounts are back on and torqued. Yeah, so pretty much the next step is just add some oil. It's been about 24 hours since I finished up everything, put it all back together, and so far so good. So it's added the oil, everything's looking good, there's no leaks. Yeah, I put just a piece of cardboard down just to check after 24 hours, and my driveway's a mess, but there's no actual leaking under there, so that's good. Pretty happy with this. So yeah, there'll be some more stuff coming up with this. Pretty much all the suspension components. I wanted to get to the idler arm bushings and some other things, but while it was on the ramps, you can't really turn the steering, so I'll have to get to some of that. The ball joints are just torn apart on this car, but it's getting there. Definitely getting there. The paint's a little rough, but definitely a cool looking car and fun to drive. So that's it for this episode, and so thanks for watching. See you later.